I'm going to describe you the stakeholder interaction table and how it works. As for the other tools, we will say the aim and description, how to use it, and how to integrate this into the MSDS design process, and the tool availability and the required resources. The aim and description. Actually, it is used to design or co-design, as I said, with different. You can use it with different actors. The narrative, so the story of each actor. So each actor has a role, and you describe what the actors is doing, both on front desk and backstage. Front desk it means for what is doing for the customer. Backstage, what is the other actors are actually doing, what are their interactions. How is it made? What you can find there inside. There is a sequences of images described in time that describe actually the various actions of the stakeholder. There is a short text that defines a specific role of the actors, as well as another text that actually is describing in a more narrative way what that actor is doing. And then there are for each of the action, there is we highlight which are the product or the services and who is the owner of the product or who is the provider of the service related to that action. Okay, so it's a clear table that describe the different actions. And these, of course, at the beginning, and you will start with this, will be a draft with not that many interaction, few actors maybe, but when you go to a very detailed design, that could become really a huge, this is an Excel-based file, a huge description of that, even detailing action by action and so on. All right? We will come up to the level of a concept, so it won't be a big system, a big interaction table. And how to use it? This is you open that is an Excel file. In the first row, you will find the sequences of the various phases. It could be that there is a design phases, an implementation phases, and then when the service is really running, or you want to emphasize that there is a maintenance phase or something like this. If this is needed, you can divide this. This is nothing that difficult. Then the other rows actually represent each actor involves and the activity that each actor is doing. In the first column there on the left, what we put the different actors. The first on the top is the customer, whether it's the final user or in a B2B, it could be a business, but anyhow is a customer. And you remember that we use the red color for the customer and the blue color for the provider to highlight this. And then we have on the right of that we have the row and the column that represent the action of each stakeholder. Of course, each stakeholder is on one row, and we will describe in time the action of that stakeholder. So for the other stakeholder, we will do the same. Of course, if an actor is doing something before than the other, we will set this in relation. We will use a time framework. And then up there in the second row, what we put either the product or the services that in relation to that action that is in that column are used or offered, who is the owner of the product, or who is the provider of the service, if we highlight the service. So as I said, there is the customer rows and the other stakeholder rows. And as you see, the customer is red as a color, and then you have an orange there beside, in which you will put, as we will show you, some images. And for each of the provider, we have always the blue up, where we identify the type of stakeholder, but then a different color for the different type of stakeholder that we will find beside. Okay, so customer is always red, stakeholder who's providing something is blue, but then we differentiate the different type of stakeholder. And that is very useful because if you are co-designing, you're co-designing with different provider. It's usual that each of the provider recognize him very clearly and immediately by a color code. So they say, I'm the blue, I'm the red one, I'm the blue one, green one, and so on. So what you do at first, you insert the stakeholder labels. You have already used the stakeholder label in the innovation diagram, so they are the same. Though actually so you can use even the stakeholder label that you have already inserted in the innovation diagram. But when you download, as I will tell you later, the interaction table, which is an Excel file, this is a zip file that contains as well another file, which is a PowerPoint with all the labels as well. So it can be used even independently or even without having used that. And you may discover that there is a need for a new stakeholder, so you can take the label and add them. So first you put the label actors there, you insert them, and as I told you, you can take that both back from the innovation diagram and from the label file. Then you go in describing the activities of the system, and let's say that you start maybe by describing by each of the actors, and maybe in a sequence of time, the first actor that has to do something for the system, if this is not made, while doing the system math, this was already clear. If you clearly identify, you have put the start and then action 1, action 2, and so on. So this should help you to build up this interaction table. You describe simply the role. So what this actor is doing there, up in the blue part. Then you will have a white space below in which you describe in a more narrative way what that actor is doing. You can use even third person. You can use even John, which is a carpenter, is doing this and this and this. So that makes the narration more easily to be understood. So you have a role clearly saying what is this actor doing, and then a narrative part below. And then you build up the image. Okay, this is even quite typical for a designer to build images, and that could make quite easier even the understanding or the designing or the co-designing with other stakeholders. And so what you have in the images, you have the stakeholder basically in a background. The background we suggest to have it in black and white, but you can do it in the way you want, all right? And we suggest to make, or this we ask to make the stakeholder that is making the action with the color that represents him or her, okay? That is, in this case, a light blue, all right? So that it's clear who is acting within each of those. And why we said black and white, because when it's black and white background, then it's easier even to see the color code identifying the actor that is doing something and so on. And in one scene, you may have different actors. So one could be the main actor, but there could be another one because this actor is interacting with another one. So you may have a silhouette of another actor with a different color within the same scene. Okay? Um, yes, something is important is that try to avoid to put too many things into that scene. So the background should give you an idea of where the scene, the action is placed. So it should give an idea, an immediate idea of where the action is going to happen, so that the who's looking at this clearly get a point. Oh yes, I'm there at the university, or here, or I'm in a supermarket, and that's it. Okay. So just the few details that are needed. You know, when there is too many information that produce only noise, so it could disturb the understanding or better understanding of the action itself. Then what you do actually in the upper part, as I have anticipated, you put the product label, and you can take those from the innovation diagram if you have identified, or from the label table or PowerPoint that you will find in the zip file of the same interaction table, because maybe new, while doing this, of course, new product, new services will emerge, because using this is an action of continuously designing and so on. So you put the product label plus the product, identifying the product owner, and the service label plus the provider of this service. You have maybe you have already, no, you didn't use it because you made a system map. You can find images and background in the internet, there is everything, okay? Nevertheless, we have a library of images that you can download from the Lens website. There is image library, something like this. And there inside you have different folder with people, action, context, and something like this. And basically, the easiest way is that you take a context image plus a people image or other things, and you build up in a quite fast and easy way these things, okay? Of course, you are not obliged to use those. You can use other. If you are collecting some interesting background images, or you build out new silhouette, what I'm asking you, please, since this is an open library, give those to us so that the new student, new designer, either in Mexico or wherever they are, can use those, okay? As far as this is free, as far as some of those have been made even by a colleague of your students that were present in last classes. If you make new, please give them to us, remember, okay? So we can add those to the library. We improve it. We have still to improve it. We don't have that many. So where we integrate this into the interaction table, now we saw that this has been used. We are using this in designing, but actually you can make even to analyze the reference structure. So how your system is, the existing system. So what the company you are designing for is doing, what is the type of service, or you can analyze even best practices using this interaction table. Then, as it is in our case, you use in product, service, system, concept design. And with a greater level of detail, you can go on using this, expanding and expanding, expanding, even in a very detailed phase. Okay? Tool availability and required resources for the interaction table. Well, as for many of the tools that we present, you can download this from the Lens website in the tools section, as you know. And the folder contains both the Excel file plus a PowerPoint file with the label that I told you before. So far, the language that we have here is English, but we are going to develop with a partner of the Lenses project in Chinese, in Portuguese, and in Spanish. These kind of tools. And then you can download the image library. It's a folder into which you will find all of those. You need a computer, of course, as resources, and you have it here as a software, an Excel reader, because the interaction table is an Excel format, and a connection to download those things. And to make it, this depends, and we say 1.5 hours to start, building it, but this is really dependent on as I told you, you use it in the course of time. You develop maybe the first draft, and then you go on in detailing it and refining it, and so it could be used in different time, even with longer timing than what is shown over here. But let's say for a first draft, this could be an idea of the time that is requested.